Okay, guys, I will explain um, the information that I gathered from chapter 8 of book Cultural Theory, an introduction by Philip Smith, and we talk about the chapter 8. I've gathered some of material in there, and I texted in the paper, but some there's a little bit of it. So, okay, the first one is cultural structure and agency. Three attempts at synthesis. The 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 relationship between system of meaning and human action has long been a theme in cultural theory, as we have seen in all the previous chapters. Every theory must take up a position on this issue. Some, such as symbolic interactionism and ethnomethodology, allocate priority to the actor. Okay, next we move to the expert of this theory, Pierre Bourdieu. First, his work attempts to synthesize um, micro and macro levels of analysis concerned with both subjective experience and with objective structures. The phase. Okay, second one, the phase that he sees his works as part of critical project. The third one, develop both abstract theoretical models and conducted detailed middle range empirical studies. Some of his theory was like reflexive sociology, habitus, cultural capital, and fields. Okay, the first one, Bourdieu books outline of a theory of practice. In the first page, attack structuralist understandings of society. He argued that this embodied a distorting objectivism that arose thanks to the position of the socio-scientist as an observer. From the perspective of the outsider, it was logical to try to construct abstract maps of symbolic system and to develop ideas about social rules. Second one is habitus. He sees this as systems of durable, transposable disposition, structures predisposed to function as structuring structures, that is, as principle of the generation and structuring of practice. Okay, next, cultural capital. There are some point in here. The first one, objective knowledge of the arts and culture. Second, cultural taste and preference. The third one, formal classification. The third, cultural skills and know-how. For example, the ability to play a musical instrument. The fourth one, the ability to be discriminating and to make distinction between the good and the bad. And the fourth theory was fields. Cultural capital does not work in a vacuum. but whether is a force at play in a wider social structure. The concept of this of the field is central to Bourdieu's model of complex societies. According to the according to Bourdieu, these are domains of social life such as the arts, the industry, the law, medicals, medicine, politics, and so on. Okay, next one we go to evaluation of Bourdieu theories. Um, the first one, ideas about cultural capital and habitus provide exciting insight into the form and structures of cultures. Second one, Bourdieu points to the autonomous role of culture and cultural struggles in determining both individual and institutional outcomes. The third, his work is able to powerfully theorize the relationship between culture and agency. Okay, we move to the other expert. His name is Anthony Giddens. His theory was duality, theory that Giddens developed to try to capture structure and agency are better characterized as an assemblance of sensitizing ideas rather than as a systematic models like those of, say, persons and Habermas, modernity. Okay, that's all. Okay, next we go to Anthony Giddens' theory, that is modernity, self-identity, and risk. The overall picture here is rather positive one of people actively making use of cultural resources in order to cultivate the self and attain some kind of civilization. For this reason, Giddens' position differs from that of critical theory, which tends to understand the self-centeredness of the modern individual as which tends to understands the self-centeredness of the modern individual as a symptom of a general malaise propelled by capitalism. Okay, we move to the other expert. His name is Norbert Elias. The civilizing process. Elias sees a new sense of self emerging. Uh, Along with these changes, he suggests that in the earlier period there was less awareness of individuality and less sense of shame and embarrassment. In the later periods, people became much more sensitive to the need to protect the self and police its borders, to separate out a civilized self from a spontaneous and animal self. That was Norbert Elias sees civilizing process. Okay, that's all the explanation from me of chapter 8 that tells about culture, structure, and agency, three attempts at synthesis from book Cultural Theory, an introduction of Philip Smith. Thank you for the attention, and I